Pro-Kremlin officials have blamed Ukraine for a rocket attack on a separatist-controlled city in the east of the country. AP correspondent Karen Chames reports.
A Russian investigative committee walk on rubble outside the mayor's office in Donetsk. Inside, the ceiling has partially collapsed on the seats of an assembly room. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials have said Russian rockets struck a city near the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, wounding several people. The attacks on both sides come as Russia has lost ground from a Ukrainian counteroffensive focused on the south into its seventh week. I'm Karen Chamas.
Kremlin-backed separatist authorities have accused Ukraine of numerous strikes on infrastructure and residential targets in the occupied regions. They have said Kyiv often uses U.S.-supplied long-range rockets, but have not provided evidence. Last week, the Kremlin launched what is believed to be its largest coordinated air and missile raids yet on Ukraine's infrastructure. The wide-ranging retaliatory attacks included the use of self-destructing explosive drones from Iran that killed dozens of people. Ukraine's presidential office said Sunday that Moscow was shelling towns and villages along the front line in the east and that active hostilities continued in the southern Kherson region. Meanwhile, Russia opened an investigation into a shooting in the Belgorod region Saturday in which two men from a former Soviet republic who were training at a Russian military firing range killed 11 and wounded 15 during target practice before being slain themselves. The Russian Defense Ministry called the incident a terrorist attack. Iranian media say a towering blaze at a notorious prison housing political prisoners and anti-government activists in Iran's capital killed 4 inmates. That's according to the country's judiciary Sunday. Saturday's fire at Ivan prison in Tehran was extinguished after several hours, and no detainees escaped, other state media said. In online videos, gunshots and explosions were heard around the prison. The fire raged as nationwide protests triggered by the death of a young woman in police custody entered a 5th week. Iranian rights activists have challenged state media claims over the cause of the fire and apparent explosions at the prison. A politician in Rio has made history by becoming the first transgender woman elected to office in Rio de Janeiro's state legislature. Daniele Balbi, 33, hopes to advocate for laws on behalf of her blue-collar constituency, including those affecting the LGBTQ plus community, as well as to push for more public funds for culture, education, expanded child care, and other social benefits. She was also the first transgender professor at Rio de Janeiro's Federal University. She decided to run for office for the Brazilian Communist Party and won a seat in the first round of elections held October 2nd. Thousands of protesters, including France's newly crowned Nobel laureate for literature, have piled into the streets of Paris. The show of anger Sunday against the bite of rising inflation aimed to crank up pressure on the government of French President Emmanuel Macron. After Hurricane Ian, the U.S. state of Florida's citrus and agriculture business struggle. AP correspondent Julie Walker has more.
The thousands of oranges scattered on the ground by the hurricane are only the start of the disaster for growers like Roy Petaway, who estimates at least 40% of his crop is unusable. Just as he says, growers were finally recovering from Hurricane Irma.
This is the kind of event that will push growers out.
Citrus is a $6 billion business in Florida with more than 375,000 acres in the state devoted to oranges, grapefruit, tangerines. Senator Marco Rubio at an industry event last week.
I think we have both an economic and a cultural challenge to hold on and to fight for things that are important.
Hurricane Ian also hit the state's cattle industry, dairy operations, vegetables, and even bees. I'm Julie Walker.
And recapping our top story, pro-Kremlin officials have blamed Ukraine for a rocket attack that struck the mayor's office in a key Ukrainian city controlled by the separatists. The municipal building in Donetsk was seriously damaged by the rocket attack. Separately, Ukrainian officials said Russian rockets struck a city across from the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, injuring 6 people.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.